Alrighty, back from my vacation way up into the north and back again on the road, a 3,100-mile trip, and I'm well rested and well fed, a little too well fed, and back here trying to lose weight, running on the beach every day, trying to get back to my 10 pounds ago. Greg Raffetto, welcome on a Friday. Going to talk healthcare. How are you?
Sounds good.
Oh, great. Yeah. I was up in I didn't swing by Northern California. We went back up through Utah and then back down through Nevada. I ended up all the way up in Spokane, back through Idaho. Spent a lot of time in Idaho, back down through Nevada. Beautiful parts of the country, especially there in Utah, looking at canyons and whatnot. And I'm going to make sure we swing up your way on our next road trip. Up in Mammoth Lakes. How's Mammoth Lakes doing? Looking you went out fishing this week?
Oh, it's beautiful. Yeah, it's 82 degrees today and just very nice out. I went fishing, caught myself 15 trout.
15 trout and shared it with the camp. Outstanding. Yep. That's beautiful. I went salmon fishing, didn't catch one, but I was the bartender, so I was feeling no pain and having a lot of fun.
Good for you, Joey.
All right, let's try and just make sure we know ex Chippendale and law graduate and former head of a company which was the 14th largest PPO in the country. Is that true?
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of experience on the healthcare side. A Renaissance man. You're seeing the healthcare bills coming out. It's essentially moving more toward a socialized program. Something you said in an earlier show that you favor more of a socialized approach. But I've got some specific criticisms I'd like you to address. This is my impression of where we're at now. The House and the Senate are working on bills independently, but I'm sure borrowing lots of ideas from each other because I don't see a lot of difference in the plans. One, both plans raise taxes to fund it. I think that's going to be a problem with the economy. They mandate the purchase of insurance by individuals and small businesses, which I think could really hurt on the small biz side. Number two, neither plan controls costs other than by rationing, whereas the free market approach, or even for a government funded program, I think a better alternative would be vouchers or HSAs, health service accounts. And number three, competition, the selling point they're using, I think is at best a ruse. And I'm being kind and using the word ruse, but because the government can selectively starve out private insurers in different regions, as they see fit, and they can even starve out the private practitioners or find a way to outlaw them. Though I've not seen that in the plans. They're continually saying you'll always be able to keep your private plan. They're not going to outlaw it, but they have, in fact, in Canada and the UK and other places outlawed the private option. So, and the other aspect of competition is that, the Republican idea of maybe allowing private insurance companies to compete across state lines, that's also been ignored, as all the Republican amendments have been ignored. So, I've just thrown those out there. And you can address, issues in any order, but that's my impression. Is that overall, I think the thing is going to lower quality, though it might cover more people. I think the overall quality will go down, and the overall economic impact would seem to be very high and very negative. What's your impression?
The overall impact at first is going to be negative, just because the government doesn't know how to do this stuff right. However, as they move along, the impact will become better and better.
So you think we have to cut them some slack to be able to ramp up? Maybe is there a way to go at it slower then, if there's such a learning curve?
Yeah, there is a way, and that's what the Republicans are pushing for, is for a slower entrance into the marketplace.
So we're not all across the board, but maybe starting it in just a certain region, or what? Yeah, I'm not sure how the phase-in. What's the best kind of phase-in vision you have on it?
Well, we've already got socialized medicine for people who are poverty-stricken.
Mm-hmm.
So we've at least got some basis to start upon, and I would think if they just raised the limits on what people qualify for the programs, that would allow them to service a greater and greater portion of the population. So maybe they should start off slow in that respect.
Okay. Yeah, I can. Okay, so that seems reasonable. Okay. Anyway, throw this. Now I'm going to start digging at the fringe a little bit, and you can have at it as much as you want, because there's not much substantiation for this. But I've seen some people worrying about, for instance, will old folks get the shaft on in this program on rationing, like they do in say Britain, where if you're over 65, I think you have a lot. You actually have to either wait longer for, say, dialysis, or in some cases you don't get it at all. And in other words, they make it harder to get it the older you are. They have essentially an actuarial table that says, you're only going to live another 4 years on average. So you know what? We're going to deny that. Do you think we're going to get into that? I don't think that's in the...
Sure as heck hope we don't. That would be rationing, and rationing that's the proposed method for curtailing costs here. I don't see it happening right off the bat as long as AARP is a force in the marketplace. So... and, they control a huge voting bloc. Right.
Right, that's true. Yeah, so we have to consider that. They could lose a lot of their voter base. I mean, when I say they, the Democrats. The other aspect of it that at least where they've gone to in the UK and in Canada is that there are certain procedures where you have to wait so long that they just don't do it. And if they can get across the border, in the case of Canada, they'll come to the U.S. to get the service.
If they have the money for it, yeah.
Yeah, if they can come across the border. Oh, and even worse specter is that can you address the idea of the creep of the government's reach, where they'll start selectively outlawing the use of private practitioners for certain ailments or certain procedures?
It could happen down the road. It's not going to happen to begin with. The insurance companies are too big of an economic force.
Yeah. Let's talk about for a second the private or the business requirement. And I think we've talked about this a little bit before, but I almost never get tired of talking about this because it's bizarre how it happened. I think back in World War II, at some point there was a workaround that was used to, and I call it that because I think at that point it was decided that the tax deduction for health care premiums for employees was allowed to be deducted by companies, but then individuals were not allowed to take that deduction for premiums. So that essentially made it a very high competitive point to have companies provide the health care. But what's happened over the 60 years has been that by forcing a third party and another intermediary, or even a fourth party you could call it, because it's you, your company,